Hey everyone, welcome to the premiere episode of something new I'm doing called Tea Time with Tony. This is where I give you a lot of straight talk for a gay dude and serve you the tea piping hot. So, who's ready for some tea? I'm always ready for good tea. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that kind of really bugs me as a mental health professional. I talk about it in my new upcoming book, hashtag Are You Here Yet? How to STFU and Show Up for Yourself, available in the UK February 13th and in the United States February 28th of 2020. The whole notion of labeling. So one of the things, I get a lot of calls at work and people are like, oh, I want to see you because I need a diagnosis because I need to know what to do. Here's the good news, people. We don't need a label. We don't need a diagnosis. We don't need to know what the actual problem is, right? Because here's the thing, with mental health, with personal development, with what we're wanting to do and change for ourselves, we already know that something's up. We already know that there's something that we want to do, differently, that we want to, dare I say, manifest. Oh, overused term. And I'll get to that in a future video, I'm sure. So here it's like, it's like, oh, I need to know if I have ADHD. I need to know if I have depression. First of all, you never want to have any of these things because that implies that you get to keep it. And my job as a mental health professional and as an author and writer is to give you ways out of where you are and into new ways of being. So you don't want to have depression. You don't want to have ADHD. You want to know how to make these things better, how to overcome these things. So here's the tea. Ready? Show up knowing what you want to change. Show up. And what I mean by show up is, reach out to that mental health professional, that life coach, whatever the case may be, right? But don't be so preoccupied with the label, the diagnosis, or anything. Show up with, you know what? This is where my life is right now. And this is where I'd like my life to be, sometime in the future. So, and get ready to do some work. Because you know what? Even with a diagnosis, even with a label, at some point you're going to have to do the work to overcome whatever you've been labeled or diagnosed with. Here's the other thing. A lot of people rely way too heavily on psychopharmaceuticals. And I'm not saying don't take your Prozac and this and that. I am not a medical professional. I do not have a medical license. I do not prescribe medications, and that is something that I'll never want to do. Despite the numerous requests from people on social media and apps. Let's just leave it there. We want to be pretty. Studies have shown that the best outcomes in mental health is when individuals attend both psychotherapy and maintain compliance with their medication regimen. So I'm not saying that to influence you to go seek out medication unless it's something that you want to do. Hey, again, I'm not your psychiatrist. I'm not your doctor. I'm not going to tell you don't take it. That's between you and your medical professionals. What I am telling you is that despite the label, despite the medication, you still got to do some work. You still got to do something about it. So my tea for you today is forget about the labeling. Forget about the diagnosis. That is not as important as to the work you need to do. Recently, like around the Christmas holiday, I was beating myself up a little bit because I felt I was backsliding a little bit into old ways of thinking and being. And the reality is, sometimes we do backslide. We can't be perfect, right? Even me. So I was like, okay, but I remembered when I started my fitness journey many years ago, I had this vision of what I wanted my biceps to look like. I have this thing about biceps. Don't ask me why, but I think biceps are one of the sexiest body parts in a man. One of, not the most sexiest. You could fill in the blank however you want. And so it took a long time, but I finally have biceps that I really, really like. People tell me and compliment me on them, and I'm like, Okay, I'm okay with that finally, right? Instead of having, skinny, flabby arms I've always had. So, but that took work. I didn't give up after my first set of bicep curls, right? I kept having to do bicep curls and hammer curls and whatever curls, and I finally got the biceps I wanted. Much like our own personal development and mental health and all that stuff, we have to continue to work to get the results. And when we don't get the results right away, we can't give up. We can't throw in the towel. And, and one of the things I mentioned in my new book is product placement, right? Cute. You do the work to be the work, not the outcome. The outcome is actually like the bonus prize, but it's not the prize in of itself. So I want to leave you with that thought of thoughts, excuse me. You don't need a diagnosis and a label. You need to do the work, regardless of a diagnosis or label, and keep doing the work until you get the result. Don't give up just because you're not getting the result right away. Okay? So that is your first Tea Time with Tony. Until next time.